Maz Kanata, ladies and gentlemen. We have had a couple of weeks now fooling around with the old goggly-eyed bird, and I want to have a discussion about whether or not she's worth it, where we can use her offensively, and how does she perform, defensively speaking. The verdict is in. Let's go check out my girl Maz. How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Galaxy of Heroes video with me, your boy Scribe. I hope you've had a lovely weekend today, and I apologize if my throat is sounding just a little bit scratchy. I think Mrs. Scribbles gave me the lurgy. Yes, I'm drinking tea out of a flowery cup, and what? Mrs. Scribbles likes them. Okay, so, Maz Kanata, the goggly-eyed one herself. Latest conquest unit that we have just unlocked like a week and a bit ago. How does she feel? How does she perform? Was it a massive flop, or was it a case of she is amazing and you need to have it? Well, I mean, the hint is really in the name. You can't say amazing without saying Maz. Right? She's actually really, really solid. I would even argue she's kind of a little bit more exciting than using Pirate King Hondo. Why do I feel that? Because she is a conquest unit that is not a lifter for another team, but she is in fact just her own leader, right? She is there to lead other pirate allies to fame and glory on the battlefield, and I've been having a lot of fun using this girl offensively. Now, generally speaking, in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, when a brand new unit comes to the field, or we get a whole team that is, actually viable, what people will do is they will adopt what is known as the rule of new, which means nobody has really fought this before, we don't know what to do, let's stick it on defense so other people can worry about it and I can just sit back and look at the insights in a week's time or something like that. And that's absolutely what I did in my first week of using Maz. So let's go ahead and check out and see how our opponents fared. Now, in the first round of the first week in which I could use Maz, I set her on defense and she was one-tapped immediately by the Great Mothers. Now, I actually used the Great Mothers to counter Maz on defense as well. It's just such a solid and reliable way of dealing with Maz. You literally just deathmark Maz and go all in, and it's over in a heartbeat. And that's what my opponent did. However, he did still manage to lose Morgan Elsbeth. Now, I don't know if this is because my opponent decided to not focus Maz at the start, because that's the big risk. If you leave Maz out in the open, she will eventually get rid of all of the profit on your team. You will get death marked, and then that unit will die very, very quickly. So I have a feeling that's what happened here. However, they managed to survive regardless without Morgan's Elsbeth. In round 2, let's see what happened over here. They still one-tapped the Maz, I believe. Yeah, but they used Gas 5-0 first, so Gas, Fives, and Rex, which is a decent team. However, you can see banner efficiency not so great. 51 banners. Looks like they managed to get Gas to stand up right at the end as they won, but they lost their Fives, probably due to sacrifice, and then they lost all health and all protection and most health on their Rex. Whether or not this is a good, viable counter is debatable. Not sure. Not sure, truth be told. And in the third round, let's see what we did. Did we actually set her on defense in the third round? I think we did for this first week. I might have pulled her on offense. No, see, third round, and this is what I would expect to see. Morgan, Great Mothers over here, you target down Maz at the start, you basically insta-kill her, and then you run away with it. Now, I did set it on defense with the Kicks focus Datacron. I don't actually think this is the most useful way of dealing with Maz. I think the Pirate level 6 that we've got on the current Datacron set is so much more valuable. In particular for me, this is the Datacron that I like to use with my Maz. The level 3, I go for the 15% additional health and protection for each dark side ally. The level 6, you want that big wordy one. This over here gives so much benefit to pirates. Attackers are getting stealth whenever they are critically hit. That's great. Keeps your attackers out of the way, out of trouble. The tanks, whenever they use an ability, are going to assist all of your allies, which is so powerful. Getting Smee to constantly attack, or Ithano, you want to have one additional attacker in 3v3. And when a pirate support or healer ally is inflicted with the debuff, all pirate allies recover 5% health and protection. Useful because Maz can do that. Also, whenever we consume a stack of profit, we're going to be gaining 5% defense, max health, max protection, and offense for the rest of the battle, stacking up to 150%. This level 6 is incredibly powerful on pirates. You want one of these for Pirate King Hondo if you are rocking him. Now, the level 9 I'm using here is Quigold. You do not need this. Like, honestly, under a Maz team, you could do without it. Sure, you could go for like OG Hondo, and you could drop a unit and maybe have OG Hondo in there. But honestly, I would rather have OG Hondo with my Pirate King Hondo and use Quigolds instead. I, honestly, could do without it. Whatever. as far as I'm concerned, right? This just does so much good value. And here we see the last time that I used Great Mothers on this, I just went for something with a bunch of armor pen, went ahead, doomed Maz Kanata, placed the Blessed then over on McGill the Spirit, and you just focus in on Maz, just one 218,000 damage, and she just immediately melts. Then you're free to focus on whoever you want. Now you could go after Quiggled next, probably makes the most sense if he's on the team, because he is going to have that locked taunt and all that sort of good business. Yes, you can circumvent it, but realistically, if they lose Maz before they even get to do anything, it's usually a bad sign for them. So really good way of earning good banners. Now, offensively speaking, this is her big win, right? She can absolutely destroy Lord Failure. Now, I already went over earlier the Datacron that I like to use on this, but this honestly is an absolute joke. You don't need SME or SM33. You can go ahead and just use your Ithano, and Ithano does incredible work. We can attack under protection, basically, when the enemy is a Sith. Now, I will note, you do need to have the Omicron on Maz, but if you're going all the way, getting good relics on your Maz team, you want to be getting some Omicrons. I personally just went all in, got all 3 of them because I had the capacity to do so, but just make sure you get that one that allows her to use her leadership, I believe, against enemy Galactic Legends. Look at that. What is that, 45 seconds? Not even that, in order to just immediately melt through Lord Vader. And this is true of basically any Sith team, right? Within GAC in particular. She will absolutely tear apart a Sith team. Now, granted, we are probably not going to see a whole lot of Lord Vader on defense anymore. He has had a lot of counters. Bless his cotton socks. Bless his angry eyes. But it's nice to see that Maz is another team that can really bring the pain. Now, I personally think that this will also work absolutely fine against JMK, but I haven't checked out swigger.gg to see if anybody's tried that. Let's have a quick look. Well, I wouldn't say there's been a whole lot of battles against Jedi Master Kenobi, but there have been 2, and it's a 50% win rate. Looks like that one was a cleanup, so it may well have just been poor timing. You know, the TM preload might have been very good, but on the one battle that we saw for this particular one, it did happen to win, and it was against R9, R9, and R8. Not too bad. This is just below Kyber 1. Kyber 1 starts in the 3,600 range, and they only lost Quiggled over here. So I'm not sure how viable that's going to be, but what we do know, based on Maz's kit, is that Cat will immediately drop. And that is once again thanks to her leadership Omicron. Okay, the leadership Omicron is absolutely perfect. Okay, so in Grand Arena, whilst there are no Galactic Legend allies, that's just to stop you using this with Pirate King Hondo as well. The important part, obviously, having the additional max health protection speed is absolutely fantastic, and the stacking tenacity is great. But this part here is particularly anti-Cat. If a pirate ally is instantly defeated by a non-Galactic Legend enemy, like Commander Ahsoka Tano's Insta-Yeet, that enemy is death marked for 1 turn, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. If a pirate ally uses an ability on their turn against an enemy with this death mark, they instantly defeat them. So basically, what will happen in a JMK team is he will reset cooldowns on Cat. Cat will then leap out a unit, insta-kill them. She will then get death marked for 1 turn. So provided you can target that Cat with any of your pirates, you just pop her and she immediately dies. Now, if you happen to be in 5v5, this is probably even better because you're going to be running kicks, definitely in that scenario. So you'll be able to revive the unit that Cat insta-killed. And you could probably actually make it through with really good banners. Now, there's probably a little bit of an argument's sake to say, hey, if you used Maz, Kicks, and Quiggled in 3v3 versus JMK Cat, and she just yeets out Quiggled because of the taunt, she can't ignore that, it's a locked taunt, it would just be a case of, oh, she gains death mark. Quick Kicks can then revive Quiggled. She's got death mark, let's target her, boom, instantly defeated. Absolutely amazing, and of course they can't be revived at that point. Not that JMK teams ever really take any sort of reviving action in them. Where else can Maz be used to pretty good effect? Obviously we don't have a whole lot of data, she hasn't been in the game that long, and this is only 3v3 data so far, but it looks like she is a solid, reliable, good banner counter to Finn Zori, which is a very common defensive team. She can take out the likes of the Darth Revan Omi. This is not that valuable, to be honest, because this team is pretty easily taken apart in other means anyway, so still nice to have something up your sleeve. Takes out Bad Batch. New Bad Batch is quite a common team in the upper ends of the game. Lots of people are investing in New Bad Batch simply because they have great raid performance, taking out common teams like Admiral Trench, who has got a focused Datacron right now. Also, AdRad, another really survivable team with a focused Datacron. These guys are going to be dropping. OG Bad Batch, that's not great. I mean, you've got Gungans, which are quite common on defense, another decent team. Malgus, any sort of Sith team is just going to get absolutely bodied by Maz, so 100% love to see that there. Jedi Knight Revan, not really something that I see on defense per se, but maybe some of the earlier games will. This one's interesting, seeing the whole crew, Darkside Vision Ray and TIE Fighter Pilot. Seems like it's pretty reliable there, and a couple of others. Yeah, all in all, I would say that Maz is actually one of the better Conquest units we've had over the years. She's actually really fun to play as, and she's got some really great punch-up ability against certain factions. Highly advise people go ahead and invest in her, because she is also a good team for the raid. I've got a video on that, make sure you do check it out. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about Maz. Where have you used her? What have you found? And I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.